Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trawled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello dear listener and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin and with me as always is my fellow film watcher, compadre and 1 year older today son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
Hip hooray, hip hooray.
There.
That's got the celebratory segment out of the way. What you been up to?
Well, I stared at a clock for 5 minutes, and then it was my birthday, and now as we're recording this, it is my birthday, but now as you are listening to it, statistically, it is not.
No. So by the time this comes out, it will not be Thomas's birthday, so there really isn't any point posting on any of our numerous methods of communication and social media to wish him a happy birthday, because frankly he's over it by now. By the time you're hearing this,
yes,
the only deep-seated resentment and disappointment that he'll be feeling is by me saying this on his birthday.
Yes,
good,
at length.
Right, so you watched the countdown, the balls dropped, and and the fireworks went, and it was your birthday.
Yep.
And now it isn't. Anything else you've been up to?
No, not really.
Good. I went for a walk today. We lived boring lives. We should really question our existence, and what better way to do that than to watch the film that we're going to watch today, which is what?
It's called Failsafe.
It is the 1964 Sidney Lumet film Failsafe. Thomas, would you be so kind as to read the back of the DVD, which he has to do because finding it on any streaming service is just an exercise in futility. Unless it's on YouTube. No, it would have come up that it was on YouTube, wouldn't it?
It won't be on.
No.
I don't think. It would it?
It's thrown him now.
Oh no, you can buy it on YouTube or on Microsoft Movies.
Oh, okay.
But that's it. Yeah.
So if you, yes. After listening to our comments after we have watched this film, I have seen it. Thomas has not. Keeping in mind that he has seen Dr. Strangelove. And the reason I am bringing that up yet again shall be apparent, possibly, after we've watched the film. And we'll talk a bit about that and about the film. But first, Thomas is going to open the case.
Well, I'm going to read the back of the case, because I didn't actually end up doing that after all of what we just did just now.
Sorry. I'm still in a celebratory mood that has sort of got me hyped up on chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Which I haven't had yet. Mousse. Okay. Would you read the back then, please?
Yes. When a military computer error deploys a squadron of SAC bombers to destroy Moscow... We did this last week.
We did.
Yeah.
It depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
The American president tries to call them back. But their sophisticated failsafe system prevents him from aborting the attack, so he must convince the Soviets not to retaliate and bring us back from the brink of World War III.
Yes, the plot sounds somewhat familiar.
It does.
Possibly more condensed and less distracting from its sole focus, but yes. That's what Thomas is going to remove from the disc case. Although I think I'm getting this vibe that he wishes to mention something that is also on the disc case.
So, audio-wise, would you like mono?
Or...
No, that was the end of the sentence.
Right. Yes, I'd love mono. Yes. Yes.
Would you like black and white?
Oh, very much.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love some of that black and white crunchy goodness.
And plenty of options for subtitles.
Good.
2 English options.
Uh-huh. Can I have it in French?
You can have it in French.
Good. Excellent.
I suspect we'll be having it in English, though.
Yes. And without the subtitles. Okay. Thomas, would you now open the case?
Don't say the point.
Well, it has to get out of the case somehow and into the DVD player, after which we will hit the play button after turning various other things on, and we're going to watch the film, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B.
No, we did that in the old podcast. We don't do it in this one, you mongrel.
Because all those other conventions that we've carried over...
It's a different thing. Totally different concept. Yeah. We're just going to watch it.
The true mongrel was you
No,
all along.
it was not. I have seen the mongrel and it is me. Okay. Let's just watch this. So, what did you think?
I think that worked better for me than Doctor Strangelove.
Yes, it's certainly more of a slow burn. But it does burn.
Yes.
The intensity just ramps up and up and up and up. And bits we thought were superfluous at the beginning, or this is my personal feeling, bits that felt superfluous ended up being quite relevant at the end too. And the special effects of the time, I guess I'm talking about displays here. It's been done probably more since, I think, and certainly in that respect, none of it has aged well. But it still had the power and simplicity of being able to tell what is going on with a certain degree of shorthand, I guess, that was easily identifiable. So I can certainly imagine the feeling of watching this being, at the time that it came out, quite intense. We're talking Cuban Missile Crisis type era. The tenseness between the two countries was quite immense. But it humanized Russia.
It did, yes.
Extremely well, and very, very definitely said that was saying that there are no winners, and there was certainly that degree of patriotism, but it almost was saying that in a lot of ways that is the cause of their downfall, really.
It's an affecting film.
Yes, and indeed, I think certainly more powerful than Doctor Strangelove. The comparison is very much there. Look, I will just grab Wikipedia, and it has quite a succinct, possibly weak explanation of what happened there. It's under the fail-safe write-up in Wikipedia. Lawsuit. Failsafe and Dr. Strangelove were both produced in the period after the Cuban Missile Crisis, when people became much more sensitive to the threat of nuclear war. Failsafe so closely resembled Peter George's novel Red Alert, on which Strangelove was based, that Strangelove screenwriter-director Stanley Kubrick and George, the writer of the novel, filed a copyright infringement lawsuit. The case was settled out of court. The result of the settlement was that Columbia Pictures, which had financed and was distributing Strangelove, also bought Failsafe, which had been an independently financed production. Kubrick insisted that the studio release his movie first. When Failsafe opened in October 1964, it garnered excellent reviews, but its box office performance was poor. Its failure rested with the similarity between it and Dr. Strangelove, which had appeared in theatres first in January 1964. So there was, 9-10 months between the two. Still, the film later was applauded as a Cold War thriller. So that is why the similarities exist. And I still find that, even though it's the lesser known of the two films, very much so nowadays. I guess because of certain iconic scenes in Dr. Strangelove, I still think that's the stronger film. Especially the soundtrack. Which there wasn't any.
Yeah, there wasn't.
No soundtrack whatsoever, which accentuated the silences, of which there were many, very deliberate sort of pauses.
One note that we should make here is that our copy of Failsafe is not perfect. It broke down around the 52-53 minute mark.
Oh yes, I've got to have a look at the disc and just see whether there is a scratch there, or not that it happened at a pivotal, important point in the story at all.
No, not in a film that is almost entirely pivotal moments.
Yes, it was somewhat traumatic because what do we do? We'll have to. Well, was it just hiring on the Google?
You can rent on YouTube.
Yes. Okay. YouTube. Yeah. We may have had to do that, but yeah, I suspect there's maybe a bit of dust or something on the disc, so it got a little intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to focus in on the president's room.
Oh, good, yes, because I knew that there was something lingering in my head, and I'm wondering whether it's exactly the same thing that you've got a question about, or...
No, I don't have a question.
Right.
It's more so just how good the scenes in that room are with just two people.
It's interesting. You probably don't have any connection whatsoever with Larry Hagman, who played the translator.
I did have a brief look at his work.
Okay.
I Dream of Jeannie,
yes,
etc.
Yeah. So, sort of, certainly growing up in the 70s and 80s, Larry Hagman was a name, a famous and infamous name. But this was either his first role or one of his very early roles. And he played it so well, and the interaction between him and Henry Fonda were superb. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Where were you heading there?
And then the slow beating down of Fonda's president as he realizes, oh. Yeah.
Wonderful performance. really, really good.
Mm.
Okay, there was something that kept on taking me out of the moment whenever there were scenes in that room. What the heck was that paper circle with the clock, the single pointer on it?
Yeah, what?
It was like a cardboard, or not even cardboard, it looked like a paper cutout, a circular cutout, pinned to a wall with a dial, just a straight pointy dial on it that wasn't moving, or it didn't move at all, but it was just there, stuck on the wall, almost as an afterthought. It was loosely stuck to the wall. It wasn't painted on the wall. It was so yeah, it kept on distracting me.
I looked at it thinking, okay, are they going to do anything with that? And they didn't.
And they didn't, which I'm of two minds about as well, because if they did, and it was some kind of gauge or something, it was really, really bad. But the fact that it didn't do anything was making me think, why is it there? So yeah, I could have well done without.
Yeah.
It may well have just been that wall. It's blank. We need quick. Someone whip something up to fill that blank wall.
But apart from that,
yes, it's
a good film with compelling characters who have well-written interactions.
Yes. Speaking of characters, another face popped up that made me go, and that was Dom DeLuise, who, if you remember, in probably the only place that you'd possibly recognise him would be at the beginning of the Muppet movie, when they're in the swamp.
Yes.
Yes, the guy on the boat. His son went on to act and direct in Stargate, SG-1, the TV show, and Dom DeLuise actually performed in one episode of that as well. So, but yeah, he's also quite famous, more as a comedian, I think. I could be talking out of my hat here, but yeah.
Known primarily for his comedic performances.
Yeah. But he was the guy who ended up spilling the beans on the technology. So that intensity that was going on in that room was incredible too. And the way that they portrayed that similar things were occurring in the Russian installation as well. But you never saw that, but it was still quite obvious that things were not good.
There's a long period where they're not talking to the Russians because the general's just been attacked. and they press it down, and the Russians do not question it.
No. It is slow to build up, and certainly felt longer than it actually is. But I don't think that's a bad thing. At the end, it all paid off. So if you do get a chance to watch this, I do strongly recommend it.
Word of warning, there are sustained high-pitched noises at the very start and very end of the film.
Yes. Which seemed more than mono to me. You sort of filled the room. Yes. I'm glad the cat wasn't in here at the time.
Yes.
All right then. Do you have anything else you wish to add about Failsafe?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
The following segment is a dog. Do not pet the dog.
I've got to refresh myself on whether anything's happened in the past week and a half.
Indeed.
Since we were last here.
It has been a week and a half. I would like to... look, I was actually kind of impressed with the fact that I didn't get completely pulverised by my comments about Bill Murray's acting. And it actually resulted in a recommendation that I have certainly taken on board. I have ordered a second-hand copy of a certain film that seems to be out of print, I think, but yeah, I got it quite cheaply. Well, if it ever gets here.
And a listener from Pennsylvania was not put off.
No, I'm glad we didn't insult the Pennsylvanians too much. I believe it's always sunny in Pennsylvania. Oh, that's Philadelphia, isn't it?
Yes, that's Philadelphia. And not a show that I've watched.
No, same here. Speaking of shows that people have watched, did you find anything else that suitably fills this segment?
That's a good question.
Because I have something that sort of fits into this segment as well.
No, nothing else from the Peanut Gallery.
Okay. Our dear listener. I cannot believe that you have denigrated our dear listener to being the Peanut Gallery. I may have to edit that out. Where is that edit button? No, I can't find it at the moment. Okay, so just a brief one-off contained within this episode and the next following couple, giving people a chance to catch up. We understand that people do not necessarily listen to this podcast the minute that it drops. So a little bit of competition. So the movie that we just watched, I mentioned, was directed by Sidney Lumet. Oh, interestingly enough, he was born to an actor and a dancer in 1924 Philadelphia. Anyway, so Sidney Lumet, we watched Failsafe. On the shelf, there are 2 other films directed by him. All right. And interestingly enough, one we have both seen together, but you have flagged as wanting to revisit. And the other I have seen a number of times, but you, I don't believe, have, but I have flagged as wanting to revisit. So there are 2 more Sidney Lumet films on the shelf, and everyone has one guess. It will be based on first come, first serve, to see who can guess which other 2 Sidney Lumet films are on the shelf. How many has he actually directed, just out of interest?
43?
I thought he was quite prolific, so this could be interesting. I'm very tempted to disqualify one of our listeners, because there is a certain listener that I believe has actually watched one of those films with me. So if you feel that description matches you, then I would encourage you not to submit.
I'm not going to stop you.
In all fairness, I think that is how we're going to run it. Right. So, yes, was there anything else in this segment that, other than this really exciting one-off, not to continue through the whole season and become a nightmarish clash of titans and egos and what segment? Yes. So, anything else? Well, let's move on.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed. Okay.
Yes.
So
we have something to deal with.
Yes. So last week we watched last week we watched Groundhog Day. 2 weeks before that we watched Doctor Strangelove. And we watched Doctor Strangelove because over the holiday period I'd bought 4 films.
Yep.
And we picked one at random. It happened to be Dr. Strangelove, and then a little while later I was like, okay. Well, coincidentally, that is the earliest, chronologically, and why don't we just keep going on like that? And that's not going to happen.
It's not.
No.
Because other things have happened.
Unfortunately, how long ago was this? It was only a few days ago.
Yeah, only a few days ago.
Yeah. Christopher Plummer, perhaps most famous, although to his chagrin, for Sound of Music. Passed away.
To his chagrin, but also one of the most powerful short gifs, responsible for one of the most powerful short gifs from one of the most powerful short segments of The Sound of Music. Yes.
All that being said, one of the 4 films that I purchased over the holidays, the most recent one, the very recent one.
And his last...
I think so, yes.
I believe it was the last film released with him starring in it.
Oldest actor to win an Oscar.
He also played a wonderful Klingon in Star Trek 6.
His last film was The Last Full Measure, just after Knives Out, and he has a voice role in a film due to come out this year.
Right.
All that being said...
Yes, all that being said...
The film that we will be watching next week, in honour of his passing, is Knives Out, which you have not seen.
No, I have not seen.
And which was the last film that I saw in cinema.
So, there we go.
For some value of cinema, but we'll get to that next week.
Yes, so Knives Out, starring, amongst others, Christopher Plummer in one of his last roles, and yes, so in memoriam. We hope you can join us.
Yes.
But until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us, in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
So the movie that we just watched, I mentioned, was directed by Sidney Lumet. I believe that is how it's pronounced. Anyway, so Sidney Lumet, I'm going to say Lumet anyway, presuming that it's of French origin. Who can guess which other 2 Sidney Lumet films are on the shelf? All right. How does that sound?
Lumet.
It's Lumet. I'm going to have to record Lumet, and just edit those back into...
Thank you, Wikipedia, for providing IPA pronunciation guides for all sorts of things.
Okay. I'm going to call him Doug for the rest of the... Okay, so any more... there are 2 more films directed by Doug. So if... Yes, you each get 1 guess only, and we'll see how we go until the films are guessed. How many has he actually directed, just out of interest?
I was busy preparing to move on.
No, I can find that out then.
No, I'm getting there. Film. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43.
I thought he was quite prolific, so this could be interesting.